LGBT rights group Stonewall has come under fire from the Surrey Police and Crime Commissioner for promoting a, quote, dangerous transgender ideology. Lisa Townsend described the organisation as a threat to women that risks putting feminism back 50 years over views such as allowing those who identify as women into single-sex refuges, rape crisis centres and prisons, regardless of where they are in the transition process, revealing she's been inundated with emails from concerned women, some of whom wanted to remain anonymous as they were genuinely terrified of a backlash. Lisa told the Mail on Sunday, "Everyone has told me not to speak out about this, but if women like me can't or don't, who will?" There's a photograph of her right there. Police forces, she says, in an attempt to correct many of the wrongs committed against minorities in the past, are being naive if they believe that Stonewall are anything but a well-funded lobby group for a dangerous ideology that threatens the safety of our women and girls. Mosi, do you agree with her?
Yes, absolutely. Unashamedly so. I think it's really important for women to speak out. It's incredibly difficult to, because of course we know people get cancelled for speaking out about this kind of thing. But I absolutely don't think that men who transition into women should have an automatic right to then be able to go in women's spaces, whether that's bathrooms, whether that's in, I don't know, prison wards or whatever. I think women should be able to veto that. So it's hard to find a middle ground, isn't it? Because, you know, you're not going to start building new prisons and new hospitals just for trans people, are you? So I understand.
Never say
never. Well, you never know. But you know, you have to find a middle ground, and I just think women have the right to veto. If a single woman says, I'm not comfortable with this, and it's a woman in a refuge, in a hostel for domestic violence or whatever, then she should absolutely have that right. That should trump the right.
Those trans women would say that they are women too.
Well, sadly, they're not biological women, and I think, for me, biological women are superior in a sense to when it comes to being able to veto whether you want somebody who's been a man in your...
I think you probably maybe superior is a bit of a harsh word.
Okay,
you mean take priority.
So they take priority.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah,
if you think women,
I think women are the superior gender, of course. But no, I think when it comes to sort of who takes priority, then women's rights, surely, biological women's have to be superior. That's what I think.
John, I'll come to you in a second, but Marina, what do you think about this?
Do you know, it's difficult, and I can see both sides of it. But if you don't allow transgender people to, say, for example, use a woman's restroom or to go into a woman's area, if you like, then where do they go? The males, because then that's going back to what they were former, and I don't know. I think once somebody has transitioned, they've transitioned, they should be treated as that sex.
The idea of what she's arguing against is actually somebody that identifies as a trans woman, but has a full male physiology.
Okay, well, I mean, it's so hard. It's difficult. I mean, yeah, I do understand why that woman is saying that. I do get it, because then you're not a woman, are you? If you haven't had the kind of operation, you haven't gone to the extent of having the transition, I guess.
Well, they would say they are.
Yeah,
well,
but I just think so. Say if I saw a trans woman in using the bathroom, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But what I would have an issue with is if a woman was asked that person to leave, and then the woman got done for discrimination or whatever. Yeah, that's where I don't want to get to.
Yeah,
I think that's what I mean by women should be able to, without being accused of discrimination and then have a hate crime against their name, say, actually, I'm not comfortable with this and I don't want you in my space.
I'll tell you what's wrong. Parts of the trans community, large parts of it, are actually not trying to be women. They're a radical men's movement. And the way they've targeted people like Jermaine Greer, people like J.K. Rowling, is an absolute and utter disgrace. Biological women are biological women, and they should have a right to safe spaces, whether that's prisons, whether that's toilets, whether that's changing rooms. There is a problem, you're right, that if you fully transitioned and, to put it bluntly, no longer have a penis, then we have to find where you can go to the toilet. But how many more stories do we need in prisons of women being raped and sexually assaulted? And I know some people who, I'm not going to say where, but work in a rape centre, and they're tearing their hair out about this. Women who have been abused, children, their daughters who have been abused. And now those men can say, I'm a woman, and we have to take that. Right? This is where society's getting it wrong. I have sympathy for people who are trans. I haven't got a problem. When I was a punk rocker, we used to go to Tiffany's and watch bands. There was a trans person there all the time. No one gave an SH1T about that person. Nobody. And I don't think anybody is now really into, I'm anti-trans and terrible, terrible. But we can't have this position. I've got 2 daughters, 27 and 24, 25. I want them to feel safe. And there has to be women's spaces. There has to be, the changing room.
Does it matter, Mercy, where you are in the process of transitioning? I mean, if you don't have male body parts anymore, reproductive organs, does that help?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the thing is, it must matter sort of legal, because I don't want women essentially to be done for discrimination when they oppose this kind of thing. So of course sometimes when somebody's fully transitioned you can't even tell half the time, and I don't actually have a problem, but I just think if women want to voice their opinion and say no, I don't care if you've gone through the full transition, you're a biological male and I don't want you in this space, I feel uncomfortable, they should be allowed to do that without having legal repercussions. And